So, you probably clicked on this video thinking, what is this guy doing? I mean, using only super effective moves? On paper, that sounds counterintuitive. How in the world is that a challenge? Isn't that how you're supposed to play the game? Well, yes, but what about a game of Pokemon where using anything but super effective moves is banned? A game where everybody but you has Wonder Guard. I saw Smallant's version of this in Pokemon Ruby, so I thought I'd try it out myself, but instead in FireRed. I'm gonna need the best type coverage possible to win this challenge, especially without items in battle and playing on set. Can I even do it without losing my mind? Well, watch to find out. As always, if you enjoy my suffering and want to see more of this stuff, consider subscribing. Only a few people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so it would really mean a lot if you could. I might have to come to your house if you don't subscribe right now. I'm just kidding, only subscribe if you actually enjoy the video. Alright, let's do this. Of course, the rival fight goes as you'd expect since I can't do anything to attack him. So right away, there's a huge problem. How in the world am I going to level up Squirtle if I can't deal super effective damage to anything? Well, thankfully, there is one solution, and it lies in Viridian Forest. There's a small chance of finding a Pikachu in the forest, which starts off with Thundershock, which I can use to take down Wild Pidgey and Spearow in the other routes. My strategy now is to just switch train Squirtle until he reaches level 10, and in the meantime also grind up Pikachu. This is gonna take a while. So shortly after, I kind of abandoned that strategy since I realized that it would be a lot more efficient to just catch a Spearow, which knows Peck, and then just kill all of the bugs in the forest and grind using that. This should definitely be useful until I can get a better flying type. So yeah, Brock was obviously the way you'd expect, and it went the exact same way it seems to go in every single challenge. He was a complete joke. I mean, I have Bubble, so there's nothing really that he can do. Mount Moon goes smoothly for the most part except for the end. You see, I have to battle a Rattata, Coughing, and Voltorb. All are types that I don't have coverage against, which means that I'm gonna need to train up a Nidoran to level 12 for Double Kick, and then a Geodude to level 16 for Magnitude. Can you guys tell how much fun I'm having? Now on to Rival 2. I use Thundershock on his Pidgeotto to take it down in 2 Thundershocks, and then I use Nidoran to take out Rattata. Then, for Abra, I use Thief that I taught to Nidoran to take it out in 3 hits. Last is Bulbasaur, and this thing was scary. He uses Leech Seed, puts me to sleep, and tries to take me out, so I switch to Spearow. I do some damage, but he does the same thing, and now I'm really worried. I use Pikachu to lower his defense as he puts me to sleep and static paralyzes him. I only have one chance now to win, and Spearow wakes up and finishes him. Oh my god, that could not have been closer. For Misty, I lead with Pikachu and use Thundershock on Staryu, which makes her waste a super potion and then I take her out. For Starmie, it for some reason goes for a preemptive recover, so I get into free Thundershock, doing about a third. Unfortunately, the very next turn, she uses Water Pulse and confuses me, so I go down. I chip her down a little bit more with Fearow, but at just about 1 HP, she takes me out, so now my only hope is Nidoran. I go for Pursuit, and she goes for Rapid Spin, doing barely anything, which means that I finish her off. What even is Gen 3's AI? So right after that, I box Geodude since I don't have Impossible Evolutions fixed, and that basically means that I'll later on have a useless rock type with me, while Nidoran will most definitely be useful later on, especially once it gets an incredibly rare and useful move towards the end. I teach a Dig and immediately evolve it since all of its good moves are TMs. Anyway, Rival 3 was easy as always, as you can see here. Next is Surge, but of course Nidoking made quick work of him. For some reason he loves spamming Double Team, which can make some battles really annoying. Luckily, I still hit every single time. Right after I get out of the rock tunnel, I immediately catch a Growlithe. When he evolves, he should be a star team member. Also, having a fire type will be useful for backup against Erika. Speaking of which, Erika. I taught Fearow Aerial Ace to do more damage, and I wasn't thinking that it could solo her entire team since I know she loves using status moves. However, I surprisingly did. Victory Bell missed its Sun Spore, so I take her out, and Tangela just went for Ingrain. And while Vileplume did paralyze me, it didn't matter as it was just one more hit to win the fight. Next is Giovanni, but he only has 2 rock types and a normal type, so obviously he's easy. Wartortle one-shots his first 2 Pokemon, and then I get in a Brick Break, go down, and finish him with Nidoking. And yet again, Rival 4 was a complete breeze. He starts with Pidgeotto, then goes to Gyarados next, even though it's 4 times weak to Electric. And then for Kadabra, I paralyze him since I only have 1 Pokemon that can damage him, then I finish him off with Fearow's Pursuit. Last is Ivysaur, but it's a one-shot. Now that I'm entering the later portions of the game, I really need to start thinking of what team I want for the Elite Four. I need to make sure that I have good type coverage. Unfortunately, I can't get a Starmie or a Slowbro, which would have been incredibly useful since I'm playing on FireRed. I'm thinking of using Lapras again, which I know I use way too often in team runs, but I can't think of anything else as good as it. I'm probably keeping Raichu since it has some good coverage, which electric types tend to lack. For flying, I'm definitely replacing Fearow with Aerodactyl. Nidoking is also definitely staying because it gets a really useful move later on that could definitely help. I'm not sure what I'm going to use as a 6th member, but maybe something like a Psychic type just to get some extra coverage. Speaking of which, right after that, I decided to catch a Drowsy backed by Vermilion. I know that Hypno kind of sucks stat-wise, but I do want to try and use Pokemon that I don't really use much, and Hypno fits that bill. After spending about an hour getting it caught up in levels, I fight Koga. Coughing goes down in one hit, but Muk only loses about half health from a Psychic. Thankfully, it only goes for a minimize, so I take it out the next turn. Coughing 2 is obviously a one-shot, and Wheezing was almost a one-shot, but it didn't really matter since he can't win. Right after that, I head straight to Rival 5 since once I beat him, I can finally get another useful team member. He was pretty easy as usual, and for the very last time, I got to use Blastoise. Why is it the last time, you may be asking? Well, because right after, I get Lapras, which is a dual water and ice type. It can also learn Psychic, which is always very helpful. I do lose Bite with this decision, but it doesn't really matter. And of course, Giovanni 2 was also a joke. You can actually see me forgetting that every enemy has Wonder Guard when I try to finish off his Kangaskhan with Peck, only for it to not hit. I don't know how I always seem to forget the challenge every now and then. Okay, so remember how I said that losing Bite wouldn't matter? Well, that's because at level 43, Nidoking learns Mega Horn, the only good Bug-type move. It's physical, so I absolutely shred through Sabrina's team, well, for the most part. I do have an annoying time against Alakazam as it just refuses to kill Raichu, almost as if she knows my strat. It might not be super useful for much of this run, but I'll absolutely need it for the Rivals Alakazam at the end. Time for Blaine. I don't know why in the script I wrote time to Blaine. I set up Rain Dance at the beginning to lower his Fire Blast power and to increase my Surf's power. I take out Growlithe and Ponytail with ease, and then his Rapidash hits a Fire Blast that doesn't do much and one Surf takes it out. Unfortunately, the rain is gone by the time Arcanine comes out, but he misses with not one, but 2 Fire Blasts in a row. What is my luck? I mean, to be fair, I would have still won even if Lapras fainted. You know, I tend to make a lot of uncool stuff seem cool a lot of the time when doing these voiceovers. Finally, we have Giovanni, and believe it or not, I actually lost. I forgot that Lapras is the only member on my team that can hit ground types as of now, so once it fainted from Nidoking, I couldn't get past Dugtrio. Alright, well, that was just me not being careful, so let's try again. I try again and it goes way better. I make sure to switch to Hypno for Nidoking, and once he's taken out, I let Lapras finish Dugtrio. Can't believe I lost to Giovanni out of all gym leaders. Before we can take on the Elite Four, we have Rival 6. He leads with Pidgeot as always, but Thunderbolt does one-shot, meaning I take quite a bit of damage before taking it down. Next is Rhyhorn, or Cryhorn, so I switch to Lapras as he misses Horn Drill, so one Surf takes it out. Third is Venusaur, but I have Ice Beam, so I don't know why he decided to do that. He gets frozen, so he just never hurts me. Fourth is Gyarados, so I sacrifice my new Aerodactyl to safely let Raichu one-shot him. Fifth is Growlithe, and Dig isn't doing much, so I take him out with Lapras. Last is Alakazam, so I try to paralyze it with Raichu, but I go down. Now I'm pretty worried, since I only have one shot to take him out. I switch to Nidoking, who has a Quick Claw, and he goes for Future Sight. Why? Like, why does he love using that move? I swear he does this in like every video. Alright, well, the battle's over now. I knew that I absolutely had to grind for the Elite Four, so I spent the rest of the day just grinding at 10 times speed. My team is just way too underleveled to even stand a chance against them, especially Lance. As you can see, I made a few adjustments. I decided to remove Lapras in exchange for Omastar since I don't think Lapras will be a big help. He's just too weak to too many types. Omastar should be a good matchup for Lance's Aerodactyl, who, if you've seen in my previous challenges, you would know that it's a big threat. I also need Aerodactyl for Bruno since I have very little decent coverage for him besides Hypno. Alright, let's see if I can win. First is Lorelei. I use Thunderbolt on Dugong to bring her to red health as she just uses Safeguard. She wastes a full restore, which is good, and I take her out. Next is Cloyster, but of course it's an easy one-shot since it has bad special defense. Third is Slowbro, and I bring it to low health with a Thunderbolt and it uses Yawn, which sucks. I switch to Nidoking and she uses Yawn again. wow, it's almost like she knows exactly what I'm going to do. I fall asleep and get taken out, but the yawn is removed from Raichu, so I'm at Lapras with full health. I take it out, and last is Jinx. I paralyze her and switch to Arcanine. She tries putting me to sleep, but it's not a problem as I take her out after waking up. Second is Bruno, and this was pretty intense. He starts with his 2 Onyxes, but they each go down with 1 Surf. For Hitmonchan, I switch to Hypno, put him to sleep, and set up 2 Calm Minds and one-shot him. Hitmonlee is the same process, but his Mega Kick brings me to 11 HP. Last is Machamp, but I know I can still lose the fight. I switch to Arcanine to lower his attack, then I use Raichu to paralyze him. I switch to Hypno, but I go down to a Rock Tomb. I accidentally switched to Nidoking right after, which was pretty annoying, but he thankfully didn't do anything bad. So I just go back to Arcanine to lower his attack, and then I use 3 Leers. Now I should win if he doesn't crit, and he doesn't. Wing Attack finishes the fight. Third is Agatha, and you'd expect this battle to be hard, but this battle is actually going to be a complete breeze. You see, every trainer has Wonder Guard, and this means that it overwrites the other ability. Therefore, her ghosts don't have Levitate, and with some Quick Claw luck, I obliterate her ghosts, then just use Rock Slide for the Golbat, and then finally finish off Arbok with an Earthquake. But now we're at the scary fight, Lance, and all I have to say is he took the biggest L of his career with this battle. Gyarados is obviously an easy one-shot, and then for the Dragonairs, I decided to use Nidoking to take them out with Ice Beam. Now, I expected him to only last up until maybe about Aerodactyl, but he decides to send out Dragonite first, which is great. Ice Beam does about half his health, and his Hyper Beam brings me to 3 HP. He heals, so now I'm basically guaranteed to take him out. Last is Aerodactyl, and you would think that he'd just finish off my 3 HP Nidoking, but no, he uses Scary Face, even though I'm already slower than him. What is Gen 3's AI? Like, actually, I thought the atrocious AI was only a problem in Gen 1. You know what, I'll cut him some slack. We all misclick sometimes. Finally, the champion. So, I think Lance's ghost decided to curse me or something because I made a ton of bad plays in this fight. Pidgeot goes down with 2 Thunderbolts, and then for Rhydon, I switch to Omastar thinking, what's the worst he can do? And then he uses Earthquake. Oh yeah, he's a ground type. I'm so smart. So, yeah, that's a big issue since I've lost my Water and Rock type for Arcanine. I take it out with Ice Beam, and next is Alakazam. I hope for Quick Claw luck, but I don't get it. No problem though since I have Shadow Ball and Hypno. Unfortunately, he uses Reflect first, which should be a big problem, but not if I get a crit. I'm actually both the luckiest and unluckiest player ever. I switched to Nidoking for Gyarados thinking that he'd use Hyper Beam or something, but he doesn't, so I switched to Raichu, only for him to finally use an attack. I survive though and take him out. Fifth is Arcanine, and my bad play is finally coming back to haunt me. I try Aerodactyl, get in some decent damage, but I go down. I put him to sleep, switch to my Arcanine, and my only hope now is to chip him down with Dig. I use Leer and barely take him out. Last is Venusaur, but his only attack is Solar Beam, and there's no way he can't go down in 4 turns, so I finally win. And that's it. I beat Pokemon FireRed in a world where non-super effective moves are useless. It was definitely harder than I expected. I mean, you'd think that only using super effective moves would make the game easier logically, but it really just meant that I had to plan out my movesets and make sure to preserve some important team members. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. I love doing ridiculous stuff like this, and I have a ton of similar challenges coming in the future. Anyway, thanks for watching till the end, and I'll see you all later.